Welcome to the All Out Leadership Podcast, hosted by Pastor Eric Lawson, where each episode is uniquely designed to help you live all out by bringing you practical leadership from a biblical perspective delivered in 10 minutes or less. So whether you're a business leader, serving in ministry, or simply looking to grow in your leadership, this podcast is for you. Before we dive into this week's topic, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and download the show notes at ericlawson.com/podcast. And while you're at it, feel free to share the content on social media. Now, let's join Pastor Eric for this week's conversation.
Welcome to another edition of the All Out Leadership Podcast. We are continuing on our values. We're looking today at the value of S for stewardship. I love the parable in Matthew 25, verse 14. I'm going to read a section of this and then I'll just recap the whole parable. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. Keyword, his goods to them. And the one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, each according to his own ability, and immediately went on a journey. So later, this man comes back and he calls for the stewards to come to give an account of his goods. What did they do with it? So the first person who was given 5 talents came and said, "Hey, Lord, I took it and I doubled it." And he said, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And he gave him 10 cities to rule over. To another, he said, "Hey, well done, good and faithful servant." He took his 2 talents, he doubled it, and he goes, "All right, you're getting 4 cities. And then the one who took it and buried it, the one who had 1 talent, buried it. And so when he came and reported, he said, "I was afraid of you. You're a hard man. You gather where you haven't scattered." Basically, you have pretty unrealistic expectations, was the summary of it. And he goes, "So I buried it. Here's what belongs to you." And so the Lord rebuked him, and he said he was a wicked servant. He said, "Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given. He will have an abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away." This is so counterculture because there's a philosophy today you should take from the rich and give to the poor. That's actually not God's philosophy. God's philosophy is those who've been good stewards, who've worked faithfully with what they've been given, they should be given more. There's a reason people are poor and there's a reason people are rich. Now, there are different disparaging facts such as, geopolitical situations. There are certain challenges other people have. So it's not that we aren't to care for the poor, because Jesus talks a lot about that. He talks about giving alms to the poor. But the general philosophy is you don't penalize those who are succeeding and you don't reward those who are failing, because usually there's underlining reasons. Now, we're going to look at certain principles from the parable of stewardship. Number 1, God owns everything. I'm just a steward. A lot of times, we'll talk about, well, it's my car, it's my house, it's my money. No, it's not. Actually, all belongs to God. One of the Psalms says, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof." Now, the definition of a steward is a person employed to manage another's property. So God's making it very clear that everything we have is simply His, and whatever you do currently have, He's entrusting you with it, and He's watching what you do with it, and you'll give an account of what you did with it. It changes the way you handle things when you realize it's not yours. When I borrow a car from a friend, I drive it more carefully because I need to return it in the condition in which it was given to me. There's a difference in how we handle things when we move from an owner mentality to a steward mentality. Number 2, God is looking for increase. So He rewarded the 2 stewards who had taken what they had and they increased it. Now, I appreciate the fact that God didn't say, "Well, why didn't you triple it?" He just said, "Great job, you doubled it." He even said to the one guy who buried his talent, he goes, "Why didn't you put it in the bank and at least have returned the money with interest?" And so God's just really looking at, can we increase whatever talents that He's given to us? And He's looking to reward us. Now, God gives us these talents because He wants us to be part of the family business. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it in heaven. Jesus said, "I must be about my Father's business." So the business of God is the kingdom of heaven expanding on earth, and He's wanting us to be part of that. Not only that, we're going to rule and reign with Jesus throughout eternity, and He's looking at what we do now to see what we can be entrusted with for all of eternity. He's not looking to penalize us, He's looking to reward us. So if you have the mentality of a steward and just realize it's not mine, it's God's, then I'm just simply responsible to obey God and whatever he tells me to do with his. And God's looking to see if I can take what he's given me and I can simply grow it into more. We're going to look at 2 more key points next week on stewardship.
Thank you for joining us on the All Out Leadership Podcast. We hope you gained new biblical insight that challenged you to grow in your leadership. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, we would love your help in getting the content out farther. You can help by subscribing to the podcast at eriklawson.com/podcast and telling others about it. Next week, Pastor Eric will be back with another episode. So until then, we hope you have a great week being an all-out leader.